This is Slasher here at Valve's Dota 2 Championships, also known as the International, here in Seattle, Washington. And I'm here with 1437 from LGD International. They finished 9th and 12th with a tough loss to Fnatic in the losers bracket after going down to the losers because of the playoff system earlier. Obviously, probably not so thrilled with their performance this weekend. The games with Fnatic was pretty tough. What do you think happened?
I think when we went to the loser bracket, we were already down, and we didn't prepare the best to play against Western teams. We played Mouse, and we prepared a bit for them, but going into Fnatic, I don't think we were fully prepared, and we had some bad drafts and some bad plays, and to be honest, the loss wasn't so surprising to us.
The preliminary stage went pretty rough as well, because that's why you were knocked down to the losers bracket. Why was it not surprising to you coming into the event?
To be honest, it was surprising coming into the event. I mean, we were all really confident, but as we saw the other teams playing and the other teams playing the other Chinese teams and how we played against the other Western teams, we just felt like we didn't understand a lot of the ways that these other teams are thinking, and from there we were already playing from behind.
So it seems like kind of the complete reverse of this year as it was to last year. The Western team trying to adapt to the Chinese teams. It's one of the biggest reasons I think that you guys went over to China to be playing over the last few months. And now we have the Chinese teams trying to adapt to the Western teams. What happened in the past year that led to this?
I think last year the Western teams underestimated how the Chinese would play, and when the Chinese came, they were all in full top shape, and they showed what the skill cap in Dota really is, and from there they already won all these games. But this year, because of last year, all the Western teams started playing more serious, and they after they reached the skill cap with the Chinese, I think they can all play on the same level with each other, like from skill alone. And after that, they started building on strategies. And in China, what happens is there's something like fair play, where all Chinese teams, they play the same heroes and about the same strategies, and everyone knows each other and how they're playing and all this kind of stuff. There isn't some kind of surprise out of the blue strategy. And I think that's a big problem coming into the international, because the difference between Dota 1 and Dota 2 is that in Dota 1, the Chinese were basically gods, because their individual skill alone was able to win them the game. And in a lot of games, you can just win just from individual skill alone. But in Dota 2, the game mechanics is much easier. So it was easier for Western teams and Western players to become top-level players. And from there, what really changes the tides is our strategy.
Why don't you think the Chinese teams changed up over this time? Do you think they just got complacent because they had been winning so many events the past 2 years?
I would say a bit complacent, but in China there aren't so many tournaments because of some stuff that's been happening there, where Dota 2 is fresh and organizations aren't so, how do you say, they don't know if they should actually invest in Dota 2 yet. And because it was fresh, they're quite skeptical about it. So there weren't so many tournaments, and teams in China, they were practicing against each other, but they didn't have the opportunity to try what they learned in the tournament. So they didn't understand what was good, what was bad, and all this kind of stuff. And Chinese teams in general, they're very solid. Like, they like to play something that gives them the highest possible chance of victory. They don't like to try some crazy things because they know that there's a very high % chance to actually fail. So they don't try to make some crazy strategies like the Western teams do.
But in China, you did have G1 League, you did have Super League, so you had like 2 big LAN leagues. While in the West, it was a lot of online tournaments. Do you actually believe the online tournaments may have prepared the teams better than the 2 major LANs?
Well, it's 2 major LANs, but it's only during these 2 major LANs where all the teams are trying and training really, really hard. Like, all the teams are, like, for example, when we were in China, we did play from like 2 to 10, just scrimming and practicing. But practicing without a tournament is kind of redundant. You're not trying so hard, and neither is your opponent. So all these practice games didn't really mean much. And when these tournaments were happening, then we were really, really playing hard. And in West, I think there were a lot of online tournaments, but still there was like I think 5 or 6 lands that happened too.
Do you believe that if you had been in the West still and been playing and practicing here, that you would have had a better chance and time at the International?
I can't say that is true because I really don't know what would have happened if we stay in the West and what would have happened if we didn't go to the East and what these Chinese teams would do. So, no, I can't say that would be the case.
Now, we've seen both Navi and Alliance go undefeated against the Chinese teams here. What if you could say were the one or two things that are the main reasons that they were able to pull it off this year?
I think for Alliance, they're very good friends with each other, and they have an all-Swedish team, so it's very easy for them to communicate and think alike. And this is very important in gaming, because of I think in gaming it goes further back than just the game itself. It goes back to how you were raised, where you were born, and all these kind of things, which makes people have things in common, which also helps them think alike. And this is a team game, and in a team game, you need to all be able to think alike and get on the same page. And the quicker you get on the same page, the more success you will have. And this is Alliance way of playing. And this is why they're team fighting, and all their strategies have so much confidence behind them. And as for Navi, they're just super veterans, and they know what they're capable of. They won the first international, they got second at the second international, and going into the third international, they already know where they should be. They should already be in the top 3. And with this kind of mentality and confidence, they're just pulling through, and they obviously have some really amazing players.
Now, we still have 2 more days for the tournament, but do you foresee Alliance or Navi winning the championship this year over the 4 Chinese teams in the losers bracket?
Well, I think there's 3 Chinese teams right now, but
Yeah.
Alliance and Navi are already in the winner bracket final, so they both secured at least top 3, which means that one of the Chinese teams, only one of the Chinese teams can possibly even get anywhere near there to try and fight against either one of those 2. But yeah, I think Alliance or Navi have the greater chance of winning just by odds.
So now, because you got 9 to 12, and the way the Valve set up the prize money, you actually don't receive any of the $2.9 million in prize money here. I think that was actually one of the seemingly more controversial issues going into the event. Do you have an issue with Valve putting all of the prize money in only top 8?
I think TI in TI1, TI2, it was very top heavy, but I can't say that they did something wrong because they already stated this is how the prize list will be, and they invited these teams, so if you're good, then you deserve the money. If you're not, then I guess you don't. But obviously, it would be nice if all the other teams got it too, but if they would give it to like all top 16, then it would be just like some kind of charity. You invite these teams and you're just giving them money kind of thing. They might as well just give like salary or something to help these teams grow and play more and this kind of stuff if they wanted to just give money.
So this is the 3rd year of the International. It's only gotten bigger each year, and now the game is finally released in full. You have Valve kind of putting more effort and promotion and things behind it than they ever have. What do you think about the future of a game as the game itself, and also the kind of the competitive esports side of things?
To an extent, I think they're going like the right direction. But as for TI itself, I think maybe it might be better if they split it up, or they help with money in other tournaments too. So like TI just doesn't seem like this ultimate boss tournament where every team looks for, and if they fail there, then they will just end up splitting apart and then, okay, try again next year with a new team or something like this. But as for the game itself, I think it's growing really, really good. There are a lot of fans that we can see, all the fans here that want to, our autographs and stuff. So if fans are capable of coming here, cheering for your teams and all this kind of stuff, I think just by looking at this, I feel that they're going the right direction.
Now, Blizzard and Riot each have year-long seasons, maybe how you were talking about, where Valve only has this one big event that they support, and then they don't really give as much support to the other events. They kind of let them do their things. Would you rather a Blizzard or Riot year-long season-like structure, or would you just like to see Valve put a little more emphasis and money into some of the partners, so to speak?
I think if they're capable of putting or helping these other smaller tournaments be bigger, I think that's just a better way to go with it. because at least this will be like some kind of championship and you can look forward to this. But I don't feel that the TI should just be the tournament that everyone just cares about, just one tournament. I think everyone should everyone should care about the other tournaments, but obviously looking forward to TI as well.
Lastly, now I know you're at the International and you're going to be hanging out a few more days. You don't really know your future, but what do you think? Can you predict kind of the future of your team, how you want to go about things after the International? Will you stay in China? Are you thinking about maybe moving back to the States or doing something in Canada and North America?
Right now, I mean, it's still fresh, so I'm not so sure about it. I'm sure all the other teams are going to have some crazy reshuffles. And for us, our roster will change somehow. Maybe, I don't know exactly how. But yeah, I do have some thoughts about going back home and playing from home. But I'll just have to think about it and see what my options are.
Well, thank you for the interview. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Shout outs to our fans and my friends who came here and are watching from back home. And shout outs to our sponsor, LGD, Taobao, and Razer.
Thank you for the interview, and good luck at all the events after the International.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to GameSpot.com/esports for coverage all weekend long of the International 3.